Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Lucas, Lee, Matty.
It's post Thanksgiving.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
We used to say our names when we started, but I think Matty used to just slip it in very very low key.
That's true.
I realized one time I was editing, I'm like, oh, I forgot that he actually announces our names for people who haven't watched us before.
Yeah, for people, that's exactly it. So thank you.
No, they should know us still. Even if it's their first time, they should know who we are.
It's true. We're so famous.
We've earned it. I've earned it. I've worked hard for this.
We were just talking about Lucas got a new car.
Congrats to Lucas.
Yeah, I'm still grateful for transportation, just so you guys know. But now I'm grateful for my own transportation.
Yeah.
Oh, so. I can hear it. Lucas, is that audio playing?
I muted it just now.
Oh, okay.
I also worked hard for this, so.
What tell everyone about your car. What kind of car did you get? What color?
I got a Mitsubishi Outlander 2022.
Ooh, white. Ooh, it's a 22. I didn't know.
It's a 22, yeah.
Lee, so you now have to get a 22, so then we all have 22s.
Yeah. So it's the first time I ever got like a new car, because the last one I got was like off the lot, and it was used as a rental, so it came with 30,000 clicks. It was my Dodge Charger, and I just like there's something about getting a new car.
Your Land Rover wasn't new.
My Land Rover was a 2007 beige box. It's so funny because our boss even one time called. He's like, "Oh, I heard you drive a Land Rover. I didn't know you paid me this much." Like with all that horsepower and stuff. I'm like, let me clarify something. It doesn't even have a single horsepower. It's a 2007. It's just a portable radio for all intents and purposes. That's all it is. And it has a flashlight. That's the headlight.
It's got as many horsepowers as the incinerators that we sell. 3/4 horsepower.
Yeah, man. we definitely have kitchen appliances with more horsepower. So, but yeah, like, so that died on me as I was selling it, which was actually the best timing ever. Where literally I was bringing it back to my driveway to sell it, and it broke down, so CAA towed it. The next day the guy came, and then he towed it and took it away from me. So I was like, done. Like, it's over. And I was just relieved. But yeah, first time getting a new vehicle. The feeling of knowing that no one else has driven it is, I didn't realize how nice it is, because I got it with literally 2 kilometers on it. So I don't know who drove it for 2 kilometers. I'll find you. But
it's pretty low. Mine had when I got mine had like, I think 72. Still low, but
still you got to take for a ride home.
Yeah, so 2 kilometers. So that baby was freshly mined. So no one else. You know, it's more. You got more peace of mind knowing that no one else has done some stupid stuff to it. Because my Charger with 30,000 clicks, I guarantee someone decided to drift around a corner one time while test driving or something stupid, especially a rental.
And the other thing too is, for the next 5 years, you pretty much don't really have to do anything to your car.
Oh yeah.
Which is nice. I think it's nice.
Yeah.
Especially since I used to drive, when I first got my Charger, I drove like 50 kilometers each way every day for work. Where now I drive like 5.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting it into the ground.
Does yours have like wireless Apple Play or?
Yes.
I don't know what
it's linked with Google Play, and it has the wireless charger. But silly me, so my phone has a pop socket connected to it, which means it has a bigger gap. So like sometimes it'll like charge. No, it'll still charge, but sometimes it'll disconnect if I hit a speed bump. It'll disconnect and take like 3 seconds to reconnect. But that's my fault.
Wait, so you still don't have wireless like Apple Play? Is that what it's called?
I do have it. I do have it.
Because my car only, you have to plug it in to use it. I didn't know that ahead of time. Which is like, it's kind of defeats the point.
For 2022, I'm surprised.
I'm surprised too. But again, like the features that I would use like Android Auto for is like let's say navigation, but my car has it built in. Because it's new, it's all connected to like it's like very updated, so it runs off of like live traffic anyway. So
one thing
that's one thing I was like, that sucks. That was a little disappointing. But
one thing I have to get used to is I never had a backup cam. That's new to me. And never ever. Even my 2015, I didn't have it because it was the year after where they started making it mandatory.
My Lancer didn't have it.
So
my first car didn't have it.
Me getting used to it, like my girlfriend was watching me drive it, and she's like, you seem like you're tense when you're backing up. I'm like, I have so much technology to prevent me from hitting stuff, and I'm more scared of hitting stuff now that I have all this stuff.
Than before, yeah.
It's interesting too when I back up in my car now, where I only really use the sensors. I feel like I take longer to reverse park than I used to like with my Lancer, where I had to like look at the lines and shit. It's weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna be like, something's gonna deceive me and I'm gonna fucking hit something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and it has
too much.
I'll have the overhead cam, so it shows the sides, everything.
Yeah.
And the rear view cams both, so my screen splits. So I have everything to set me up for success. And to me, it's not. I'll still do this. You know what I mean? Like the screen's right in front of me, and I'll just be like, nah, not about it.
Yo, that overhead camera feature though, I don't know that I'm a big like. Maybe it takes getting used to, but for example, my sister and brother-in-law's their Rogue has that overhead camera feature, and like whenever I'm backing out, I'm like, this is fucking weird. Like it doesn't help me navigate better than me looking out the windows. Again, maybe something to get used to, but like fuck that. I think it's weird.
I think what's always funny is that whenever you park beside a car and you have the overhead, sometimes they'll scale the car next to you very weird. So like their rims are like half the size of their vehicle. It just looks so stupid. It's so funny.
The other thing too is like, I don't know if your car has it, but when I reverse park, I can switch instead of the rear view from the back, I can switch to the rear view from the rear view mirror. So it's like the camera there, so I can see the lines better, or cars beside me. I don't know if your car does that too, but that's where why would I bring that up in terms of the overhead? What did you say about the overhead and the rear view, or was it just the overhead that you said?
It was just the overhead. I said it wasn't better than me looking out the window.
Oh, okay, yeah. That one's weird. I'm trying to think of when I used that. I don't think I.
It makes it a lot easier just for line, like to make sure that you're like centered between lines. Other than that, everything else around that.
But I mean, you can also see that with your rear view camera as well. Like you see the lines, and you know, like you.
So you know how it has like that like trajectory thing where it kind of shows you? I hate that. I'm not.
Oh yeah, mine's weird. I love that. Mine's like odd.
It's great. I can tell.
I think it's unique.
Great.
I think it's unique for each car company. Like Infinity's was, I liked Infinity's. Kia's, not a big fan. It's a little interesting.
Back in the day when I had my Kia Soul, I don't know if yours is like this, Matt, but my rear view camera for that one, the trajectory thing wouldn't change when you rotated your wheels, like when you turned your wheels. Like the Honda Civic, like when
that's horrendous.
No,
yeah, the trajectory.
It's always straight on the Kia, at least the Kia Soul that I had, and I was like, this doesn't help.
Yo.
Like, it doesn't show me where I'm going.
No offense, but no wonder you crashed it then, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
This guy's going forward, being like, the trajectory sucks, man.
Where are the lines? No, Lukasz and I were also talking about the EV Hummers that are coming out, and like one of the really cool.
Ridiculous! That's such a weird concept.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Such a gas guzzling car to be like, does it guzzle
it's electric now, so
instead?
Yeah, now there's no reason not to get one, because like before it's like, yeah, the gas mileage on this is trash, but now it's electric. Fuck it, it sounds very tempting.
It's not any more aerodynamic. It's still a box, but it's a sexy box now.
It's fucking giant. But yeah, what we're talking about is it has this really cool feature, the crab walk feature. I don't know if you knew about that, Matt. Where like you can drive diagonally, like the rear wheels and the front wheels will turn, so you could like drive on an angle. But I was like,
oh, where else did I hear about this? I don't think it's just Hummer. It's
someone else doing that too.
The BMW concept has it.
What?
I think a lot of new car companies are doing that.
Thing to me though is
you can like on the highway change lanes at like 130 and just like you just slide over, like that's weird.
Which is sick. But I saw someone was making the argument that it would help with parallel parking, but I don't get like that calculation sounds whack as fuck, because you'd have to be further back from the space because you're still going forward. Like making that calculation, I'd fuck it up.
The article I saw on it depends on how fast you're going. Will it engage when both wheels turn? So it's like if you're going between a certain speed, it's only the front, like how regular cars, like how only one set turns. Then if you're going a certain speed, both will go the same direction, but it's only at certain thresholds that it engages both.
Well, the way Hummer was selling it was that like from a dead stop, you can engage the crab walk. To like get out of like tight spaces and stuff. So like if a truck is blocking you and it's like an angled curb or something, you can like go on an angle to get out. And I was like,
I'm just waiting for that feature to be engaged, but also like where your seat lifts up like a barber chair, and you also turn the direction your car's crab walking, so you're like looking straight where you're going.
Bro,
now,
sick,
dude, you should go work for Hummer.
Bro, I'd be sick.
I do. All I do is check the tire pressure, but
Good to go, boss.
good to go. Have you guys tried this concept?
PSI.
He's like, shut the fuck up.
What's everyone drinking tonight?
I'm drinking
I have
screwdrivers.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I've got tequila and ting. That's actually one of my favorite mixes for tequila. You get ting, go into the international section of any grocery store. Delicious.
It's not Tang. Ting?
Yeah, I
Ting.
heard of Tang.
No, it's ting.
Like a
It's like
Dutchy
it's a
ting.
Caribbean. It's basically like the founder's tequila Paloma because it's grapefruit juice. It's sparkling grapefruit juice.
Is that next to the Chi Chi Man?
Ting? Yeah, I've never heard of Ting. I've definitely heard of
Delicious.
Tang,
Yeah,
which is
tang is
also
like
a fruit juice.
yeah.
Is
No,
it only orange? Is there other flavors of orange?
dude, that other flavors of orange?
Sorry, other flavors of.
What's that even
Tang.
mean?
Like blood orange? He's not wrong.
I've only ever seen orange, but no, it's ting. It's ting.
So when Drake
Ting Tang?
said that it's a Habibi's ting, is he talking about this beverage or?
Yeah, he is.
Emma said Tang is also a thing, but that's a powder.
That's what I was
Is
thinking.
Ting? Does Ting come in powder?
No.
Does it come in a
Powder
tin?
Ting, eh?
Does ting come in a tin?
No, it's a bottle. It's a glass bottle.
Glass bottle?
It's like a soda. It's like a soda.
Like a pop.
Soda.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, like a pop. Fuck out of here. What are you drinking, Matt?
I'm drinking Moosehead today. We found there
Not
was a
Cracked
case.
Canoe.
No, there was a case in the garage, I guess, from one of the baby showers, and I thought it was a case of empties. And I opened it. I was like, oh my god, these are full beers. And I was like, Jacob, there's beers. Yeah,
Dude, that was a gift for the baby.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh shit, our bad. What about Chubbies? Oh, do you guys remember
Oh,
Chubbies?
Oh, those little don't say me, but those little sodas.
Wow, Nikki calling out
the
Lukasz.
cream
That's
soda
fun.
one was god tier.
Yo, so straight up, once upon a time, back I think it was 1999, we went to Trinidad to bring in the new year. So we're in Trinidad and we're at the beach, and I mean, Chubbies were the thing back in the day. So obviously we had like cases and cases of Chubbies, and there was this random kid. His name was Max Ween. I remember his name. I'll always remember Max Ween on the beach. He was what is this little black kid walking by himself with his like floating tube. He's like, "Whoa, you guys have Chubby? Like, can I have a Chubby?" And we're like, we'll make you a trade. We'll give you a Chubby for your tube." And he's like, "Oh," and we're like, "That's the deal." And he's like, "Okay, deal." So he gave us his tube, and we gave him like a half-filled Chubby, and he just like walks away. They're like, "You what the fuck?" So we went back to him like, "Dude, we're kidding. Like, take your fucking tube back." But the fact that he did it
Yeah, he was dedicated.
is the perfect segue into this episode of Desperation. He was so
Yo.
dumb. He
I bet-
gave up. his
I bet
tube.
he was walking away too, being like, "Suckers." Like, he thought he won that deal.
Yeah.
And then when you guys are like,
Yo.
"We're kidding," he's like, "Oh, these guys are really stupid."
Do you think
Fucking
that
tourists.
he uses his name as a pickup line now? He's like, "Hey, you want to get the Max Wang?" Wait, what?
I
Max
hope
Ween?
so.
Was it Max Ween?
Ween, yeah, Max Ween.
Max
He
Wiener.
gives a Max Ween, dude.
Yo, he's a Max Wiener.
Yeah, Max Ween. I hope he does.
Oh,
Hope he's still alive.
there was a good.
That's dark, dude. But I guess you can say that about everyone you have.
Yeah,
in the group.
exactly. That's not.
What were you gonna say, Lucas? Sorry.
No, I'm trying to think. Someone had a word for calling a lady of the night. I'm not gonna say the other word, but and it had to do with.
You're not gonna say prostitute?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I'm not that desperate.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of. I'll come back to me, but they had like a word for it that was like killing me today.
So you just started a story that you forgot as you started the story?
And there's no punchline to your story. You just
That was my joke of the week.
Yo, it's a good thing it's not your joke of the week. I was going to say that. That would suck. Just want to call out Minimax saying they don't think they've ever had a chubby. You should definitely have a chubby.
It's me, isn't it? This is my joke of the week.
No, I think it's actually my joke of the week.
Oh, thank fucking God.
I had to look one up, actually, because I forgot.
Perfect.
And it's not going to be good. But so Minimac, I suggest trying the cream soda one's not bad. That was the only
Pretty
one.
good.
That was the one I think a lot of people liked.
That
I never really
cola?
tried the cola. I never tried that.
The cola tastes like knockoff cola, so it's not better than Coke. The orange one was good.
It tastes like Orange Crush. Like
Not
shitty?
quite that good. Yes. The green one was also hype.
Maybe the next time we all get together, we'll have to bring a chubby.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That's be the mix for the night, chubbies.
Yeah, and then I'll pull out my chubby. Oh, this isn't what we're talking about?
No, that's exactly what we're talking about. I'm down for a chubby party. It's just you and I.
Should we all go as Halloween as chubby, like the different characters on the bottles, like their different outfits?
I thought you were different. I thought it was the same.
Same outfit.
No. Each bottle, if you're wearing cream soda, it's pink shirt. Orange. Is
oh,
orange.
just the colors change.
Yeah,
Maybe what if his shirt's just see-through and it's just the color of the drink?
I know it's him.
Didn't you say him?
Yeah, you just did.
Probably not.
Okay, so I'll start before we get into desperation and part of our topic. I'm gonna open here with the joke of the week. So do you know what happens when you go to the bathroom in France? What? European. That's it.
That's good.
I'm not that mad at it. It's alright. That's alright.
I don't think it's that bad for a last minute. It was like I had to Google.
You were desperate for that one.
Yeah, you were desperate for that one.
When I was thinking about it, when we were talking, I was like, "Oh God, it's my week." Fuck. I thought that last week, but it wasn't.
Thank God it wasn't me. Whew. Yeah, you did all right there, champ. You did all right.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Wow.
Cheers.
And a word from our sponsors next. Just kidding. We don't have those yet. Maybe one day.
We did. We did for a couple.
Yeah,
weeks.
temporary.
Yeah. So desperation. So I think we were talking about this. We were gonna kind of. Oh.
Nikki says you should have done the nun one. What's that?
Oh my God, I forgot it. Oh, she told. I was gonna say that it was my joke, but it was actually her. Nun one. Oh my God, I forget what it is.
Nikki, maybe you can write it, and maybe you can win.
Did you forget it because it's none your business? Set you up. Great work, Nikki. We got him.
Fuck. God.
What do you call a nun in a wheelchair? Oh, she said world chair, but we know it's wheelchair.
World chair.
Oh.
I don't know, Nikki. What do you call a nun in a wheelchair?
Are we waiting?
Should we guess? Yeah, we're gonna just have dead air while we wait for
And I remember the joke. I still don't remember the punchline.
Yeah, dude, were you even paying attention when she was telling you?
I was, and I kept saying I'm gonna say it.
I almost said no, Lee. In regards to what?
Did you guys read the punchline yet?
No.
Where is it? Virgin Mobile. That's good. Yeah. That's really good.
That's actually pretty funny.
I'm so sad I forgot it.
That's actually pretty funny.
God damn it. It's actually my joke. She wanted to tell it.
Yeah.
I just pretended I didn't remember.
I like it. Nikki, good
Yeah, I'll drink to that, Nikki. Good job.
It's actually me. It was actually me, but I think.
Yeah, good job, Nikki.
Thank you. Oh, Lee, your joke was not good, is what Emma said.
My joke was great. Whatever.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about desperation, and we think the most recent and best way that this was shown was through the Netflix series Squid Game.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you watching have watched it all the way through. Lucas, did you watch it by yourself, or did you watch it?
I watched the first 2 episodes with Christina, then the rest I just powered through by myself.
Was she sad that you didn't watch it with her?
I asked her if I could. She said yes, but I don't, like the it's fine kind of thing.
Yeah, go hang out with the boys.
So I hope it's fine.
So what we're gonna do so I think we're gonna try our best not to do major spoilers in the event that people want to watch it.
Okay, I'll try.
I think there's something that you could do. You could do that don't spoil a lot of it, because
but
the base concept.
Sure.
I'll
do my best. I'll do my best.
So just in case maybe you don't watch this part, but the concept of how far are you willing to go when you have nothing to lose or when you have everything to lose.
Financial problems in general. I guess
right.
Because even some people in those scenarios, like they were taking risks that for example, I don't even know their names. I'm gonna go by their player names, I think.
Sure.
Or their player numbers, and I don't even know if I remembered their numbers.
I remember 2 of them. The first and the
60. Is it 67? 68? The chick. The one with the brother.
Okay, sure.
So like she has a lot to lose because her brother's still out there, and same with her mom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, she doesn't have a lot of money, but like, if you're gone, like, you know, realistically,
Really just fucked your brother over.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
yeah,
it's interesting because I'm curious to like what about it has made it so globally everyone's is watching it. And it's like, I was reading something along the lines of like, isn't it crazy that something so morbid as people putting their lives on the line and dying in desperation, like, sad that we watch that as entertainment? And I was like, oh, that's a very interesting take.
Are we not
I never really
return of like basically the premise of the show?
I'm sorry.
We become basically what the premise of the show is, where you're watching people.
Oh yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, it's
good
true.
point. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't. I feel like the phrasing of that makes it seem like we're, and I mean, yes, we are watching for entertainment, but I feel like the reason most people like it is because there is some form of empathy there, and there's some kind of, because everyone now knows the market is completely trash in every single aspect: housing market, student debt. Like, life is just way too expensive. You can't get anything anymore. So I feel like there's a big sort of, sense of empathy that goes on the show too. Just like, yeah,
people
fuck.
like, you can relate to characters there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to quickly call out here. I don't know if Carl's already that drunk, but your spelling is atrocious in the sentence.
What's
more sad is how
Tiger King was.
Yeah, he's fucking lit.
No, it's not. Tiger King was actually sick. Tiger King, I think, was hilarious.
Pretty interesting.
Well, I don't know what was, like, why. I don't think it was more popular though. Squid Game, I think, is the most popular Netflix show in history.
But I think the thing that Tiger King had was that it was so, like,
ridiculous.
It was so ridiculous, and it kept getting more ridiculous. Where this show, you kind of expected it, like you knew what you were kind of coming into. A little bit.
I think that. I guess in the sense of like the games they play and shit.
Yes.
That is like people are gonna die. Yeah, that's true. Like
after the first episode, you're like, okay, like I know what this show is gonna be about. Where Tiger King, each episode was like, holy, that just happened. Like, it's new.
That's a good point. Yeah,
there are twists around every corner.
So an interesting thing.
And Tiger King was also real. That's another thing. It's based on
Squid Game is. How do you know Squid Game's not real?
So did you hear? Apparently, Abu Dhabi wants to do a Squid Game.
Where people die?
No, they just want to take a bunch of poor people and like put them into games where they could win money, but no one dies. And I was like, well, then it ain't Squid Game. Like,
or what if they're like, no one dies, but people don't come back?
There you go. Then they just become part of the staff, or maybe they don't. Who knows? So I was reading that. With Squid Game, it was apparently the writer for it. It was supposed to be a movie from like 2008.
Yeah.
And he said that. I assume it was a he. I actually didn't.
It was a he. It was a he.
That's terrible of me to assume, but they just said that they didn't think there was a market for it to be a movie. And that it would have been like violent for no reason, and like the amount of stuff that's changed from an economical perspective since 2008 to now made it far more, it resonates a lot more with people. Yeah. And they were saying that Netflix just has such a diversity of what can go on their platform, like that there was less, more potential for it to be a huge success than had tried to have been a movie. I don't know how it would have been a movie either. Like that would have been a long ass. You'd have to cut off like a ton of, I think, critical character building.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like you build such relationships in shows like that with characters that it's like, I don't want to, again, try to stay away from spoilers. I don't know what episode it is, like 4 or 5. Heartbreaking. Like, 6. I almost cried. All of us almost, like, everyone at the house we're like, no!
Fuck it. Can we not just spoil this shit? Because episode 6 needs to be talked about.
Don't mention the name and don't mention the relationship, but...
Don't mention the name?
Yeah.
Okay, can I just say this? Yeah. Fuck that guy. You all know who I'm talking about. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck him. God, come on. Can we...
No. Just in case. We want to keep it spoiler free because it might then entice a larger audience.
Sure, but fuck that guy.
Yeah, I agree. And
The
everyone, if
thing
you
is-
haven't gotten there, everyone. I
You'll
think
know.
everyone has that. And the thing is that he maintains that like he becomes that character till the end, till the
Yeah.
very end.
The thing though is, I get it, and okay, I don't think this is a spoiler. Tell me to shut up if I go too far. But the premise of the show is people volunteer to be in this game. Right.
Yeah, and what everyone
Like
else was saying, it's like it's $300 million. Like, sorry,
300?
No.
It's 30. I thought it was 35 million.
No. There's
55
456
billion
players, but that thing is only divided by 10 increments. It's like 45. It's not 35. It's 45 point something.
No,
It's
it was 45 billion,
won.
which is 300 and it's like $300 million.
Is it? Okay, then sorry.
Oh, okay.
I swear we
I heard
Googled
which is
it
like
today.
35 million, but that's fine. Okay.
Which is like
A
I'd kill
lot of
people
money.
for that kind of money in a game, especially in a
Okay.
game that people are volunteering to be there.
Okay, so okay, perfect. You started a great conversation. You would.
Not
Okay,
kill.
again.
Sorry, I went like on the street, but if it's like it's part of the game that everyone's chosen to participate in, like the game's it's only room for winners. Like, I'm sorry.
Okay, let's lay out the premise for the people who maybe don't know about the show. Okay, so everyone volunteers to play in these games where if you lose the game, you die. If you win, you advance the next round, and you, like we said, in U.S.
6
currency,
rounds.
6 rounds, you'll win $300+ million. To play the game, again, if you fail, you die. If you pass, you go on to the next round. So would you actively, like, would you be that guy like in the dorm at night going around killing people? Like, would you actively kill people, or would you? Where's your moral standpoint?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. No, I would kind of play it like the main group did, where it's like only in the game. Like, I'm not killing people outside of the game hours to.
Okay, let's say in the game too, though. Would you kill somebody in the game? Let's, like, for example, again, I'm not trying to spoil anything. Let's say the game hypothetically is hopscotch. You're playing hopscotch, but you have a knife in your pocket. Would you stab and kill someone, or would you just play the game and?
I don't think you could though. Like, during the game, you can't kill other players. Like,
You totally
I
can.
well, I mean,
I don't want to
you.
spoil.
Sorry, yeah,
anything,
you.
but
I
it
guess
did
you
happen.
technically can, but not like they don't use. They use the mechanics of the game to kill
Yes.
them. It's not like they
Yes.
kill them like they stab them.
Right.
So, are you saying would I push like the mechanics of the game to my advantage?
Correct.
Oh, that's tough. I don't know.
Like
I can say for sure, Kel would 100%. For me, I don't know.
That's not an argument. We all know that one. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me come up with a better hypothetical then. Again, without shoot. Let's say
I feel like you're not spoiling by mentioning the first game because that's well known on the internet.
Yeah, like,
Sure,
like, are you
yeah,
saying if I'm behind someone and I push them
Yes.
when they're supposed to stop?
So again, let's spell it up for everyone else. Everyone else, if you haven't seen this, like, it's, again, like we said, it's all over the internet, so it's not too much of a spoiler. But the first game is red light, green light, being that the captain of the game says green light, you're allowed to run forward. The goal is to pass a finish line. When they yell red light, you have to stop. And if there's any motion after they've called red light, you get killed until they call green light again. So yes, let's say they call red light. Would you push someone to have them killed?
But here's the thing: we also have the advantage because that's the first game. A lot of the people there don't know the rest of the full concept of what's happening. Like, we have the advantage
Sure.
of hindsight, where it's like, yeah, then I'd eliminate as much of the competition as I could. But in that episode, a lot of people are just playing to survive because they have no fucking idea what's happening.
Okay,
So,
but it
so
was
like as the games progress, then I guess they do become,
sure.
which is why in some of the later games, people start using that to their advantage.
So knowing what you know, would you do it?
In the first games,
In any game, would you push the limits of the game to your advantage? Or the
man.
like you said, the
I
mechanics.
think so. Again, if my life is on the line, but also $400 million, yes, I think so. But I'd say more so because my life is on the line, not necessarily for the money.
See, the reason. Okay, sorry, Lucas. What's your input?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, but differently. Like, I wouldn't like get someone killed, like with the intent of I'm just gonna kill this person. It's more so like
So-
I would definitely be behind someone to try to protect myself, and
Sure.
if they catch a bullet for me, then sorry, pal.
But you wouldn't push them. You wouldn't push them. Or
I
anything,
wouldn't
would you?
push them. I wouldn't try to make them fail. And same thing. I wouldn't try to make myself fail to get the person in front of me killed. I would try to play with the best of my ability with a layer of protection
See,
that happens to be
and that-
someone else as a wall.
And that's interesting because, again, without going too much into detail of what some of the later games are, just for your reference. So for the first game, I wouldn't do an action like that for the first game. But for like the 5th game, like they did in the show,
You would?
You would. In that scenario, yeah. Like if it's gonna stop me from making it, like unfortunately it's gonna be you over me.
That's true. That's true.
In the first game, like it's not like I'm necessarily playing directly. Like those people can't impact my ability to win.
Right.
But in that game, exactly like
Can.
what happens in the episode, people can control other players' fate essentially. So
Yes.
it's like I'm not leaving that in someone else's hands.
Well,
Yeah, I wouldn't push someone to be like, "Oh, you're out, bitch," and you're
okay.
dead.
But the thing though is, at the same time, you could. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but that guy could have progressed without doing that.
No, but it wasn't guaranteed that he would have.
No, it's not guaranteed, but he risked someone else's life when he didn't have to.
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying is that but by him waiting, he's risking everyone else's life.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't have to wait. Like
Yeah, but that's because he'd rather be someone else than him, and I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't want to be the
Sure.
one to I'm going to take every measure to make sure that
it's
I'm
not-
the last person that dies. Like, if I don't have to,
Yeah, I guess.
maybe not the dick move where he just like waited and was like, I'm not. Oh, sorry. Yeah, like where he like hauled the game. So, like that's some next level shit.
But
Who knows?
wouldn't that be the same logic that you're?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, and then maybe being in that scenario, you change. Like, I couldn't picture myself doing it, but I know that if I'm in that moment,
Mhm.
fuck, maybe I would, because it's like I know that if I don't, I'm dead. So
Hmm.
Yeah, like
It's
if you
interesting.
know it's gonna be your death.
yeah, I think
or
that changes
but
everything.
you can make it someone else's instead.
Yeah, I think you would choose
you're-
someone else every time.
Yeah, you don't know these people, and
No,
no
for
offense,
sure.
unless you know them very well and get to know them. To me, it's like, how do I know that you're more valuable? Your life is more valuable than mine. Like,
No, but
what
even
they
if
have
you get to-
circumstances?
But even if you get to know them, it's still only one person's coming out of this. So it's like as good of a friend as you're gonna be. Like one of you has to eventually die.
Yeah, but like, let's say I was put into a scenario where it's just two people left. It's me and like a 12-year-old girl, and I know this person has family still. I don't know the circumstance because I'm not there. I would like to be like, yo, like just set up my family well. Take my life. Like just go. Like you're 12 years old.
Really?
You're still very innocent. I'd probably.
Okay, don't say 12. 12, like,
people
that's
probably hate me.
That's
People
even
probably
like
hate me
next
already.
level sad. What about like someone who's like 18?
Is the 18-year-old a dick throughout the games?
I don't know. Does
It
But
depends.
does
See,
that
but
make a
also depends on
difference?
the character. It depends.
Yeah.
on the
Why does that
character.
change anything?
I don't, because to me it's like I'd feel. Sorry, I'm gonna unplug this because I'm wireless anyway. But like, I'd feel worse knowing like that they're a good person throughout this whole scenario. Like if they always refused to injure someone else during the games, or rather than me being left with someone who's been screwing someone else over the entire time. Someone's been screwing someone else over the entire time. Yo, I'm gonna ensure it's you who loses, not me.
But
Whereas someone else
you'd be
who's
set
been
up
kind-
to be conned. Someone could con you hard then because they could.
Oh yeah, I will get. Caught,
I think
for sure.
what happens in that, a good example of that show that I was reading is that it's a great example of being the nice guy only gets you so far.
100%.
And I think that's the
100%.
show is like a perfect living example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Stop me if I've already said this before. Have I told you guys about Jordan Peterson had explained about what it really means to be a nice guy? Ever explained this before?
No.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
you have.
Jordan
Go for it.
Peterson?
Yeah.
I don't know why I
Jordan
can't remember that name.
I'll give you the spark notes of it, so I don't go into too much detail. But and this is where I think it relates to showing basically what you just said as being the nice guy only gets you so far. Is that being nice? Everyone knows that kindness is often mistaken for weakness, and to truly be a nice guy, everyone needs to know that there is a bad guy in you. So, for example, if there's ever a situation for let's say Matt pisses me off, and I just say, "Oh, whatever," if I've never such a slow motion chomp. Anyways, if I don't react to whatever dickish move you did, people can interpret that, oh, Lee's not pulling the trigger on Matt because he can't pull the trigger. Whereas if every once in a while I show that, hey, look, I can be an asshole, and then in those moments where I choose not to be, everyone says, oh, Lee has what it takes to pull the trigger on Matt, but he's choosing not to. Therefore, he's the nice guy. So it's being nice versus being incapable of.
Yeah.
Right. So also, I think being nice only gets you so far. So you need to have that beast in you at some point to let out.
That's a good point. That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, you guys brought up the point of how it might change things if you got to know someone in there. And I want to talk about episode 6 so bad, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many circumstances that you're gonna run into to stuff like that. Like, but regardless of just the games alone, there's other parts in the movie. I'm not gonna try to spoil it, but how desperate do you think you would have to be to go to an ex for money? What's your desperation
like he did?
level? Oh, I'm not trying to say he did, but yeah, like
That's
just
not
outside
a big spoiler. That's like an early.
Yeah, it's a minor.
Because that ties into I'll come back to that, but it ties into the whole concept of how the life inside the game isn't much worse, or in some scenarios is better than what people that joined are living. Yeah. So we'll come back to that. But how desperate for money, or how desperate would you be to go back to?
How bad of a situation would you have to be?
Let's not even say an ex. Let's just say in general, like I don't know. But I was once in a scenario where I was like, I need a couple $100 to like make a car payment kind of thing once in like a one time in my life, and that's why I'm very grateful now that that's not really something a problem I don't think I'd have to worry about. But to do that now, like I would have to be like, I don't do enough things, I think, that would put myself in a scenario like that. Like yeah, Carl said the verge of homelessness. Yeah, like I'd have to be like in an insane amount of, like, let's say gambling. I don't gamble, but let's say I did. Like I could see how that rabbit holes very quickly. Like where you're like, oh, you have a big loss. Oh, I just need some money to take out. I've got a big win here that I could cover and I'd be good. And then you lose again, and then then it's fucking like a slippery slope from there.
Yeah, like would you borrow money knowing that you could never repay it? Like let's say you're in a situation where like I'm 10 grand. Like let's say you're 10 grand in debt, and you're like, let's say 100.
Let's say like 100, like a number that's like.
Fuck.
Oh, but I want to put a realistic number. I want to put a realistic number out there for us. Like let's say us right now.
Okay, let's start with 10.
Let's say you're 10 grand in debt. Your mortgage payment comes out. You need $600, let's say, to pay it off. Let's just assume it's $600. But your bank is like, yo, you already maxed out your cards. Like that's 10 grand. Your Visa's 5 grand. Your other Visa's 5 grand. You cannot take out any more money. You go to someone being like, yo, can I borrow 600? But you also don't have an income. Let's just say COVID made you lose your job, right? Are you still gonna borrow money knowing that you're gonna have to be in the same situation again? It's just stalling the situation, but at this point now you're in debt to someone else as well. Or
see, it's tough because like the circumstances are so different than like the people where they don't have people to lean on. Like the main character has no one.
I'm not trying to talk about the Squid Game. I'm just talking about desperation in general.
No, I agree, but I'm saying like that's why I'm saying like for me, I'm more like or I think in North America it's like 100 grand would be something because it's like I don't know if my parents could help me out if I was like I'm 100 grand in the hole. Like I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Like 10 grand would be something that I'm like, I think I know enough people. I'd be like, can everyone just like, I'll pay you back, I promise. But it's like people that are close enough are willing to, 10 grand's not a lot of money to come back from.
Yep.
With people that are in good, decent circumstances, let's say. But 100 grand, like, that's a lot.
So
and
let's
that's
say
where it's like,
then.
fuck.
I mean that. Okay, so
I don't even know how you go about that. Like, how do you bring that up?
Back when GME was doing its crazy shit, I mean it still is, but like when it started doing its crazy shit, there was a story of this kid, I don't even know how old he was, young 20s, maybe 21.
Yeah, I think I heard about this. Nuts.
Right? He went in crazy with the whole GME ride, not understanding how stocks work and more importantly how margin accounts work, and it ended up being he had something like, I think it was like $700,000 in debt in the matter of like a week or two.
Yeah.
Just because he was playing with big money, didn't understand how it worked, and so he killed himself. And as sad as that is,
I could see where he's coming from.
I totally. How the fuck you get out of $700,000? How you can't.
Especially at someone like he was a student, right? So he had no income. I think that was the story, right?
Or like low, like it wasn't.
I think
like
he was a student too. Even if you had an income, do any of us have $700,000 of extra cash laying around?
Yeah, like that's crazy. Especially since it's also something that you're in debt for that you don't have tangibility for. Like, let's say you go $700,000 in debt because you bought a Lambo. You at least have a Lambo, so you can you can have some sort of leverage. Where he had no leverage because he just threw his money into something. It didn't work out. Done.
It's like having a mortgage. It's like, yeah, I owe $600,000, but I have a house. But it's like I'm paying that. Exactly.
Yes.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine being like, oh, I owe $600,000 to the bank, and all I have is like terrible history in my Robinhood account.
Yeah, exactly.
He must have been using Robinhood.
The biggest fucking negative red number you've ever seen in your life.
He was so desperate that literally he thought, honestly, I'm just in such a hole. I'd rather end my life. But
I think that's where he transitions from desperate to despair. Like, there is no more hope.
And that's again, at least the comment you made, as sad as that is, like, I think that's a reality that I think of a lot of people who are in that kind of debt, that they would see that as the only way out. $700,000, like.
The other thing too,
the rest of like your future is literally just you don't have anything.
You're not eating ever again. Like,
no, like seriously,
that's a wrap. Like, life is already so shitty in the sense that we need to work up until 65 to be able to enjoy it full time. Now imagine like never, ever.
Yeah, you're gonna work up to 65 just to try to break even and then have no income to follow that.
Yeah, and you're still fucking making 700,000 by. I mean, that's probably doable, but
let's say you make 70K. That's 10 years.
Sure.
No, well,
but 10 years
assuming,
of not
assuming
assuming you're not spending,
no, 70K too is that like you mean pre-tax?
Pre-tax. Well, yeah, it would have to be post-tax.
Yeah, because
right?
if you make 70K, you're making really what, like 45?
Exactly.
50
How much of a slap in the face is that you're $700,000 debt and the government's still like?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Don't forget about me.
Carl's saying, couldn't you declare bankruptcy and start all over? I don't know enough from a financial perspective what that looks like and how that works.
Yeah, I don't know that would work with stocks and basically contracts that you're making, because it wasn't necessarily that his stocks plummeted and that his earnings were negative 700,000. I think it's his fees in the margin account had to, because basically the way it works is like there's interest on, you can basically borrow money in a margin account. So if I put $500 in, I could buy stocks with $1,000 because they're going to put in the other 500, but there's interest on that because I'm borrowing at 500 from them. So essentially, he put in, again, let's say that exact scenario as a hypothetical. He put in $500 into starting an account. He spent $1,000 because the margin account said he could, him not knowing he needs to pay that back, depending on what he's buying. There would be interest rates and whatnot. So that's what fucked him over, is that he made all these big purchases, he made all these moves, and they said, okay, we gave you all this money to play your game, now give it back to us. And it's 700,000. He said, fuck. So I don't know that bankruptcy would actually work in that case, because it's not necessarily that you're not able to pay government bills. You know what I mean? Like, it's still you're owing someone.
I thought bankruptcy though basically clears you unless it's like it's like a mafia debt where those people are gonna hunt you like beyond law. But I thought if it's anything to do with law, contract, anything like that, I thought it's like, I don't want to say it's just like, oh, haha, bankruptcy, bye. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not just like that, but but it is to protect you from cases like that.
Yeah.
I just don't know, but like,
yeah, I know bankruptcy destroys you. Like, you can't really ever financially do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have.
You'll never get approved for anything.
Loans. Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe bankruptcy could have solved his issues, but again, he's young, panicking, not knowing what the fuck just happened. Now that he's $700,000 debt at age 21. He's probably just like, fuck this.
But see, that's how the people in like those kind of like the Squid Game where like there was so much in debt that they're like, I'd wager my life just to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the one guy was what, like 3.6 billion won, which is like, I don't know. Maybe it was 6 billion.
I mean, above and beyond, how do you even get to that state? But
that's $5 million.
Oh.
like, yeah, that is like money you'll never see in your lifetime.
Money you'll never see. I'll see it, baby.
The podcast will see it.
Hell yeah. Talk about desperation. This podcast is desperate for viewers.
That's...
No, but like, kind of going back to it, let's look at that price tag of $300 million. In this current state of my life, I would not put my life on the line for $300 million.
300
But
million?
looking at the scenarios that these people were in the show,
yes, that's
totally
an important piece. Yeah,
exactly.
because a lot of them are like, what do you have to lose?
Exactly, right? And like, I mean, like we said again, some people have a lot to lose, but the risk is worth the reward to them.
Yeah.
Which makes me just so grateful that my life is good enough to not want to have to do some shit like that for 300 million.
Bro, I remember just being in debt of like $2,000 and always being in the negative. That stressed me out alone. Let alone being in such a life-changing number where, like, you're like beyond swimming the surface. Like you're drowning in debt. Every time you get a paycheck, it's going to bills, and you feel like you can't recover. Like,
oh, dude,
you're
preaching. When we first moved into our house, like in hindsight, again, it's hindsight's always 2020. I don't think I was financially in a state that I was ready to move in, because I immediately was in like a ton of debt after that. I only like in the last like 2 or 3 years like got a good financial footing for myself. Like at some points I was like 25K in the hole, and I was like, I'm never gonna get out of this. Yeah, it was bad. And what you said, Lucas, I was like, it'd be like I don't know, like I'm just gonna hope something changes one day.
Yeah, right. How do you stay motivated in that scenario? Like every paycheck you throw a little bit at it, but it's just still there.
And that's what it was like. It was just like, yeah, I can't. And it wasn't like I was even buying all. It was because like, moving to the house, I was always like, oh, we need to get this, and I just was constantly spending money on these things.
Yeah.
And then, it wasn't easy, but yeah, that feeling of like, am I ever gonna make progress? Like, I don't know. And then things just kind of worked out in a sense that you move into new jobs, or financial circumstances change. Mm-hmm. It just kind of worked out.
You know what's funny though is that people get in those situations, and a lot of people, even I know for myself, I'd be guilty of this, is that you would never want to ask for help. You'd be like, I'm going to figure this out on my own. And you really only ask when you're just so desperate, where it's like, I have nothing left. But realistically, if you know you're paying interest on these debts, you have a family member who could be like, yo, like I'll spot you until you're good. Just pay me back the money with 0 interest. Even then, like, I can't accept that. Like, I can't, like, morally, I'm like, like, owing a bank is one thing, because it's a bank. I don't see these bankers face to face, unless you go to teller. I mean, hey, but like a family member, like let's say if my mom were to offer, like there's no way. Like just seeing her face to face, knowing I just constantly owe her money is just
the thing that you have to think of though is that the bank and owing them can have a long-term detrimental effect on your financial future. Whereas like owing a friend, like sure, it might make your relationship or your, like a family member like far more strenuous, but if it's something that if you're someone that you're close with, that it would be a tough conversation, but one you could have, I think you have to go that route. And it's something in hindsight maybe I wish I had done sooner.
Mm-hmm. I was about to ask, did you do that at all?
No, it was something I just never. It was something I just like sweep it under the rug, and one day I'll hope it will fix itself. And it did, but I know that doesn't always work that way.
I'm happy for you that it did work out.
Yeah, man.
No, but to go off your point there, Lucas, I find it interesting because I'm like you in the sense that I do. Not that I'm incapable of asking for help, but like I want to be able to do this myself. I want to be able to tackle this. And for example, like you said, if my mother were to offer me, come to me and offer me $5,000 for whatever help I need, I would not want to take it. I'd be like, no, you keep your money. But at the same time, you flip that coin, and I'm so ready and willing to offer people my money. Like, here, do it. but it's weird that we can't be reciprocating, be on the reciprocal side of it.
It's definitely some pride.
It's a pride thing.
Yeah.
You think it's pride? Like I don't, because like I don't feel shame or anything. I just feel like I don't want to put them in any compromising situation over my situation.
But do you think that they would offer then if they couldn't afford to do it?
Yes. I think your parents definitely would.
I think your parents would, but okay, whether they could afford it or not, do they want to, and do they feel obligated? And all that shit.
That's a good point,
right? Like for example, like let's use you.
Wait, you wouldn't? Sorry, let's go back. You wouldn't?
Yeah,
sorry. So let's use 25K. Let's say you're somehow 25K. Okay. You don't. The part that was for me was like, I can't even explain how. I couldn't explain how I got there. Like,
it's just microtransactions just add
yeah,
up,
it's just
bro.
small things here and there add up over time. So it's like, how do you get there? Like, I don't know. And that's the part that it's like, maybe not ashamed, but like embarrassing. I'm like, I'm sad or embarrassed that I got to this extent.
Sure. I get
and
that.
Maybe that's the piece that it was like I never wanted
that.
to talk about it because maybe it could go away. But it's interesting that you said you wouldn't feel that. Maybe because it's just a scenario that you're like you have to be into.
Probably. But yeah, no, I get the embarrassing aspect of that. Like, yeah, I would be embarrassed. But and again, at the same time, though, it's weird being on both sides of the coin because yes, if it were me, I'd be like, fuck, I don't know how to explain to these guys that I'm 25K. But at the same time, if you came to me and told me that, I wouldn't judge you in the slightest. I'd be like, okay, let's do what we gotta do.
Yeah, shit happens, and that's where because I've been there, I was like, I know what it's like. I know how you got there. Like I was there too.
Which is why it's so weird. Like, why can't we just see both sides of the coins and operate accordingly at all times?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It just never works like that.
Yeah,
it just never does.
Yeah, but I could definitely see Matty's point where it's like, there's definitely a factor in it where it's like, you don't want to explain your spending habits because if you know you got the 25 grand in debt because, and you know like the last few ticket items were like a TV, some shoes, a jacket, you know like you don't want to show that because you don't want people to be like, well, this is why you're in debt. It's like I know why you're in debt. That's not I want you to come out. It's also you want people to come out with no judgment. And it's not that people will come out with judgment. It's that you're scared that people are gonna judge you for it, right?
Absolutely.
Especially with new shoes.
and if they were
$5,000 in Nike outlet this month.
And if they were ugly, oh my god! If Matt went into debt for his fucking space jacket, his like Adidas.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'd spot him.
Yeah, that one's sick. What are you talking about? That's like one of the sickest jackets ever.
You know why? It's because it like as an actual NASA suit, so he thought he was going to space. So he's like, "Yo, 25 grand."
I was supposed to be with Jeff Bezos, but
yeah, you were the guy who was too busy. To go.
Then you were supposed to be with William Shatner, and that also flopped because you didn't have the helmet. You had just the jacket.
Yeah, I was like, they didn't give me a helmet. What are you talking about?
What brand is it? Nike.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. It is a nice jacket for anyone who hasn't seen it, and that's gonna have to wear it.
People are like, I've had probably 5 or 6 people like, where did you get that? I was like, I got it at an outlet. I was like, I've never seen. They had it in gold too. It was silver. The silver one.
So
that had
a
gold one.
Do you have it that you can pull it out here? Like, is it like accessible?
Yeah. Why don't you just dress up as an astronaut for our Halloween episode?
Yeah, there you go.
Just so your viewers can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it's like that's literally what it looks like. It's like tinfoil.
So this is what Matty went
it's legit,
to debt for.
like, yeah, it's just for the jacket. It's like an Austin Powers.
25K right here, dude.
Oh man, in Austin Powers when they're on the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Those tinfoil suits. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, Halloween. I can't believe Halloween's coming up. Actually,
Shocking, man. I still haven't got my costume yet, and I know. Like,
you're in desperation mode. You're gonna come with this shitty costume.
I'm gonna dress up as you. Okay, so
Oh, wow.
How desperate do you have to be to screw someone else over for your own success? Now we talked about in like that kind of concept, but let's say you are in a situation where you're 25 grand in debt, and someone pulls out 25 grand cash, just happens to pull it out, put it in their car, and then walks away, and you know that car door is unlocked. Are you willing to open that car door and just take it?
No, not for 25 grand. If we're talking like 100, if I'm at 100 in debt, maybe.
25 grand is still like, I mean, 25 spending 25 grand is easy. It's cake.
Spending 100 is easy.
Yeah, but
maybe I could spend.
But recovering that with interest rates and shit is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it takes long.
So you're saying that if someone out there was flashing 25 grand, this guy's being a douche, flashing and being like, yo, I got so much money.
No.
Slaps in his car, enters the superstore. It's at the back of the parking lot. You know there's no cameras. You're not gonna save yourself from debt.
No.
No,
because it's always gonna be the worry that I'm gonna get caught. I would then live with that feeling of looking over my shoulder because like when is it gonna catch up to me?
Yeah, I don't think I would go into his car to take it, but let's say he had dropped it on the sidewalk. Fuck
oh yeah, 100% I'm taking that.
Fuck yeah, I'll pick it up.
Yeah. What if he like
what about that
on
scenario?
The hood of his car?
What's that?
So it's like it's not in his car, but it's like on the hood of his car.
Yeah, he deserves to learn a lesson for leaving 25K on the hood of his fucking car. I'm not screwing him over. I'm teaching him a lesson.
What about that concept of 25 grand in a briefcase? But when you take the briefcase, someone random in the world dies. You don't know who it is. It could be someone you know, but you don't know who it's going to be at the time.
For 25 grand,
is too little.
For 26 grand, now we're talking, baby. Shoot them up.
2550, baby.
What about 100? Okay, let's say 100.
100,000 is still too low.
Yeah, for a life, and me knowing that life.
No, but let's say you're 100 grand in debt.
I still wouldn't want to take someone's money.
I'd have to be in the. I'm not gonna lie. This is also a scenario where you have to be in that moment.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you don't
always
know.
ethically say no. I'm gonna say no even for 500K. But if I was in 500K and I was drowning and not making ends meet and I couldn't even buy chicken nuggets, even though chicken nuggets are expensive.
Okay, here's the thing.
I can't buy that with a regular paycheck, but like 500K, I most likely in the heat of that moment would be like, yeah, give it to me. Baby.
Okay, so here's the thing though. If we're talking, let's say 20 million and I'm in $0 of debt with the current job I have now that's letting me live a pretty comfortable life, hell yeah, I'd take that risk. Like, I don't even need to be in debt. Like, if the money's stupid enough, I'll do it. Because if you do the math is just insanely in your favor. So
go for it. Keep going.
I'm going to break down the math for you real quick. Let's assume, and I'm being very generous here, but let's assume there's 200 people that I genuinely care about, truly care about. I don't think there is, but let's say 200 that I truly care about.
Lee has 199 Instagram followers, by the way.
Yeah, and again, there's close to 8 billion people on the planet. The odds that it's going to hit one of the people I care about, the odds would round up to 0%.
Lucas, how many zeros are in a billion?
Isn't that like it's like 3, right?
That's right.
I make a billion per paycheck minimum.
There's a 0.803% chance of it being someone you know.
Exactly.
Unless you're God, that's guaranteed.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, because I brought this up at a previous job that I worked at, and someone brought up a decent point, but I still disagreed with her. But she said, okay. She was like, I'm going to assume that I'm not on that list of people that you care about. And I was like, well, that's...
You're right.
You're right. But at the same time, I wouldn't want you dead. And she's like, okay, but what if it was my dad? Someone who you don't know, you don't give a shit about at all. Would you be okay knowing you got that money, knowing that I lost my father, and now I'm grieving and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, fair. But I'd probably slap some money. I'd give you some money. Although I see that being insulting, because I could see her being like,
yeah, it's like, you, sorry, yeah, I gained this money because of like thanks to your loss.
Yeah, exactly, right? That, and as well as like, don't put a price tag on someone I love. But like, I get it. Like, now we're talking about this spider web where, okay, if it's Lucas's cousin's best friend, there's a trickle effect. But I give less a shit how far it gets from me. Okay. So I still feel like I'd do it. Like, I'm sorry, Lucas's cousin's best friend. I don't know.
So let's change the scenario. What if it's same thing? What was it? 20 million?
Sure.
So 20 million, and it goes to a random person, but whoever it affects knows what happened, knows it's you involved. It could be someone in the other side of the planet, but knows
they know you did
involved. Would you still do it?
No.
Ooh, very interesting.
No, because then you're looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life.
I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna be waiting in my secure fortress, machine guns.
This guy spent all his 20 million on defending himself.
I'm gonna develop the snail.
This is like the whole snail concept.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole snail conversation.
I wanna call out. Sorry, just off topic, but this made me laugh out loud on Twitch here. Polar Knight said, "Sweet Jesus, it's the perfect evolution of beards." That's actually so funny. Mine's obviously the most perfect.
We're just trying to get Matt a little tan too, and we're gonna get the evolution of melatonin in your skin too. Or melanin, sorry, not melatonin. Melanin.
If you eat melons, do you get more melons in your body?
Yeah, that's no. That's why black people love watermelon. I did it. I had to say it.
Oh man. Sorry to veer off topic, but that comment made me laugh. Shout out to Polar Knights. That was a good one.
That was
but
great.
It is. That's actually the whole premise of our podcast.
Yeah, I think that may have been, I think, the
hair.
best viewer comment we've ever had in the history of this podcast.
Pretty good.
Whoa, that's a deep take.
Yo, basically, fuck all you regulars. It's what Lukasz said.
Carl,
Get
who
up to-
spits
we don't
like 20
need
comments
you.
an
Get up
episode.
Get up to Polar Knights level.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Polar Knights.
Yeah, if someone knows that I'm involved, I'm out, because then you're looking over your shoulder the rest of your life.
But what if that person's like someone who has no accessibility to you? Like they're homeless as well.
True.
Like
what if it's
That's a villain story. That's how they all start. Is something like this.
That's true too. Fuck.
It's literally how they start.
I'm not even worried about it.
Here's the thing. And I'm gonna be real about it. There's like 90% of the brown community looks like me, so odds are they're gonna get the wrong guy. So I think I'm fine.
Yeah, but they know you on they have you on social media, for example.
Fuck. Can I just delete?
No, you can't deactivate your account. In fact, you have to post once a year minimum updates of how you look.
With my location setting on?
Just a selfie. Just a selfie, yeah.
I have to have the location on. Fuck. Yeah, that'd suck. I think I'd still do it.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's going to be like a movie. I don't think John Wick's going to be out there and come and kill me. I think
No, let's say it is.
Fuck that guy. That's about it.
Let's say it is John Wick.
No, I'm not taking 20 million. John Wick's going to fuck me up so bad. It's not worth it.
All right, so let's change it.
Or I do it and I give all the money to my family and just accept my gruesome death that's on its way.
Okay, so I'm gonna change it one more time. So you take the 20 million, but it's someone you know that's not in your close circle, but someone you know dies.
But it's not my close circle?
No.
And I get to define what my close circle is?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Really?
So
But
let's
it's
say
not my close circle.
so let's
Well,
say they pull
then
a
what
random
happens if this
follower from your Instagram that's not a family relative or friends that you interact with on minimum a monthly basis.
Yeah, I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
Really?
I'd do it, and they can still
Yo,
know who I am.
you know how quick my DMs are gonna start blasting up now? Everyone's gonna be like, I gotta talk to Lee once a month.
Polar Knight said, Lee, so 90% of the world is as good looking as you? Damn.
Oh,
I think that's how I'm interpreting it. There's no commas. There's no commas, so that's... I may have misinterpreted
That's
that.
getting sketchy now. I
you
feel like
can slip
Lee,
into my
this is
DMs.
Lee's second account.
Oh,
Polar
it's
Knight.
me. It's me just... No.
Is it
Knight's
Polar
my
Knight like a medieval knight or like darkness?
No, like... yeah, like knights in the Arctic. Polar Knights.
Like nighttime. You
Yeah.
didn't clarify. There could be like medieval knights in the Arctic.
They're called the Polar Knights.
Yeah.
I like him. That is a man that knows how to handle a big jug. I think he's talking to Lukasz. When you're drinking your water, I think. Oh, you have a big jug?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a big jug. Oh,
He has he has
he's
the
definitely-
space jug and you have the space suit.
Whoa, don't assume. Don't assume. Why are we assuming that it's a male here?
I think he's talking about big jugs like... Jealous bitch. I hope Sandy's still watching. That was for you.
Okay, well, let's talk about desperate in other means.
Okay.
Let's talk in terms of romantic desperation.
Yes, that's what I want to talk about. Is where's
you
this?
talk about it.
Where's yeah, by myself? Where's the line between desperation and desire?
Desperation and desire.
I mean, doesn't can't desperation come from desire? Like you desire something so much that becomes desperate of like you become desperate.
Yeah.
for it?
Sure. Okay, so where's that line?
I would say desperation is when it's like you're willing to do whatever is necessary to get it. Like desire is just you want this, and you there's regular means to do it. And I think desperation is like I am now willing to do whatever it takes to get this.
So I feel like most commonly desperation and being desperate is looked at as a negative thing. So in the way that you just spelled it out, would you say that being desperate could potentially, in some cases, be a positive thing? Like a high drive?
Yes, I
Like
definitely think
dedication?
so. But I think sometimes that high drive can still be toxicity. Like let's say if you're like, I guess a scenario would be like I know people who have gone super unhealthy in weight loss goals to try to because they think being skinnier is what achieves. Let's say in a relationship, so they starve themselves from it. But in terms of just living a healthier lifestyle and doing changes, I think it's positive because ultimately you start to realize during those changes that what you wanted and what those goals were, you're like, yo, I'm actually happier and I no longer desire what I once desired through it.
Yeah,
That's an
interesting.
take.
I mean, I still want to talk about the relationship thing, but that just reminded me of I was looking, doing my homework for this episode. I saw that when it comes to addictions and stuff, they say that desperation is actually a gift. Which to me, in the beginning, when I read that, I was like, "That's weird," because I'm one of those people who you look at the word desperation and you think of it in a negative context.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying to recognize your desperation is a really good thing when you're dealing with an addict, because for the most part, they don't recognize that their addiction is an issue. But when you can recognize and say, "Hey, I am desperate to get a high or to get drunk or whatever it is that you're addicted to," when you can recognize that, that means you know you have an issue that
Like a
needs
problem.
resolution. And then that desperation transforms from being desperate to get the high to being desperate to not needing it.
Mm.
And yeah, they basically do this whole 180, and they're saying how being desperate is actually a good thing, which I thought that was neat. And so yeah, it was basically just dovetailing off of what you said there, Lucas. But yeah, as far as a relationship goes, I feel like there is, in a negative context, there's a blurry line between desiring someone or a specific relationship or companionship and desperation. And I think that's where you start seeing people go to brothels, bathhouses, prostitutes.
Or just even like stalking people because you're you're so desperate for it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Assuming every little interaction there's some sort of sexual tension involved in everything. Like if a girl is just polite to you, they think, "Oh yeah, like fuck, I'm hot. Like she wants me." I mean, we talked about this.
Yeah, our duck clean
the
calls
other
you.
podcast.
She wants me. As soon as she says good morning, that's it.
Hell yeah, man. They want to clean your ducts.
Lucky. Yeah, that's interesting. Where the line separates from from a romantic perspective of when someone's like, "Holy shit, I'm desperate," or "I'm just like really into this person." Like, when do you differentiate that?
I think it's when you start to do something unhealthy with that to get that, I guess, desire fulfilled, or try to get that desire fulfilled. Like if you are doing something that's either hurting you or affecting someone else, right? If you're stalking someone, like there's even like situations or stories where people have wanted an individual so bad that they started making them cut out other people in their lives. Like toxic relationships is a good example where you want this person in your life so bad that you make them think that everyone else around them is their enemy. So they start cutting out people of their lives when really it's that person who's the issue, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even, I guess, not trying to get into extremely sensitive topics, but even domestic abuse often is kind of almost the same principle, where you want, you have an unhealthy habit because of what you want from a relationship, and you enforce it with physical violence.
And that, sometimes people think it's gonna get better from here. Like it's gonna be different from here on out, and it gets in like a cycle.
Well, I was thinking more so the person inflicting it, but yes, as a victim of it too. Yeah, it works both ways because you are desperate for love and you think that's your only option, right? So.
Yeah, That's another thing that I also find weird is when people are. I mean, I'm not judging anyone for it. It's a emotion that fascinates me, and I'd like to know more about. Is when people are not even desperate for a person, but just desperate for relationships and desperate for love and affection. Like I get it to a degree. Like when some people are super lonely and they've never had a partner, and their parents are distant, and you just grow up by yourself. Like I get the desire for companionship, but at the same time, I find it interesting that you're no longer looking for the right person. You're just looking for anyone. And there's like, I'm just desperate to be in a relationship. Like I want to hold somebody's hand. I want to go on a date with somebody. Like now, having the standards and expectations of a specific partner now just becomes a giant question mark. It's just like, yo, whoever wants to take that seat, take the seat. Like, I just want somebody there, and I think that's where we start to slip down that slippery slope that you were mentioning, Luke's, about sometimes stalking, domestic abuse is just that desperation for love and affection. People do some crazy stuff to keep it.
That's just a good point. That's very true.
You think that? I mean, I guess it's dovetailing off both of our points, but that probably plays a role in insecurities with people. For example, guys who are not okay with their girlfriends talking to another guy or things like that.
Maybe, yeah, that could be it, because they were so they wanted it so bad that they're afraid anything like that they could lose it.
Mm-hmm.
That or people just take things the wrong way, because typically those people who are like that would also be the ones who would take a good morning as a flirtation thing, being like, oh, this guy's flirting with you because he's saying hello to you or wishing you a happy birthday.
Right.
So they're also seeing the other side of that coin, just they're now reflecting it, right? So so super strange, yeah, because I never understood it. In fact, I don't know if I'd like to, but I always get curious as to how people get to that point, the stalking of the world, or getting such unhealthy habits where you're literally harming your significant other to keep them. It's like, how'd you get there?
Yeah.
Right? Especially since no relationship starts off like it's not like relationships start off like that. There's usually like, the honeymoon phase, and then people reveal their true colors, and then people are like, oh, it's gonna get better, don't worry, and you keep sticking with it.
Maybe not. Maybe like to the point that we're initially making is that if you're desperate for it right out of the gate and starts off on the wrong foot, then if someone's willing to see that what they're able to provide is sufficient, even though it's not healthy, and the person is desperate enough to have that connection, maybe then they just think that that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true. They have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, no
There is
comparative.
no standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, they go in with these false paper expectations of what they thought relationships should be, and then be like, oh, well, this is my first one, so I must have been wrong. And then just learn to accept those things.
Oh, fuck, I don't know I'm young so much. Maybe the beer.
Matt
Jesus.
is desperate
so
for his
old.
bed.
Right, exactly.
You think you guys have ever experienced any forms of desperation?
I'd say so.
Desperation.
Actually, that's actually one of the reasons why I started my weight loss journey, is because I was like, I'm struggling to get into a relationship, and I thought the way I would do it is through weight loss. And that's actually kind of like what I was saying, is that partway through my weight loss, I realized I'm like, honestly, it has nothing to do with this, but I'm so happy that I've done this that I'm going to keep it as a thing. And actually, let's say the person who I had in mind at the time didn't even look at that person anymore. Didn't care for her. So it's one of those things. Actually, it happened very quick, where I got out of it very fast, where I was like, oh, screw it, I love losing weight. This is so much better. I'm not tired all the time.
Yeah, you're doing better things for yourself.
Yeah.
But you've found that as a form of desperation?
I would say so. I was how can I say it? It's that, because there's always that thing where when you're single, you see all these happy couples, and when you're in a relationship, you see all these happy singles. It just happens to be a thing. It's not always true. That's just what
grass
you see.
is always greener.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like that, where I was single for so long, for a period of time, where I was like, damn, I just need to get in a relationship. What's one thing that what can help me do that? And I thought the thing would be transforming my body. Right? So, and that's kind of how I started, and then it very quickly turned into, well, I know this is wrong, but I'm still on a roll here, so.
But do you think that ties into what Lee was saying earlier about, when addicts identify they're more addicted to, or the desperation to not need the high versus needing the high. Do you think it would be the same thing where it's like you were no longer like desperate for, I guess, changing, but more desperate to not return to that person that you were? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Like I hated
Right?
myself when I was that big because like I ate junk food 24/7. I felt like crap. I always felt bloated. Like 24/7 felt bloated. And then
then
like
to
once you
circle
got
off
past
of-
that
yeah.
for like a whole month, and you're like, yo, like I feel like there were days where like I woke up and I felt good, which was like new to me. I was like, damn, I never want to go back.
You're
to
desperate to never go back.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I could never let myself
Crazy.
go.
So it's
to
not
the
always
point where I was
necessarily a
before.
bad thing, I guess. Desperation
Yeah, no, I
is,
don't think
like
so.
you said, not always a bad thing.
It came with the wrong, like it started with the wrong intentions, but it continued with the right ones. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how that happens sometimes, eh? You start down a path,
Wrong path?
for all the wrong reasons. It works out. I guess sometimes you find your way along the way.
I am desperate to grow a beard though.
Keep
I can
working
tell.
hard.
I can tell. Looks terrible.
Where were you, Matt? You ever felt any desperation?
Desperation. Have I ever? I don't know. Not that I can think of that. I was like that whole financial circumstance. Like I still didn't feel like desperate. I was like, it sucks, but I'm like, I'm hoping I'll get out of it one day. But it wasn't like I was like desperate to change things to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, fair. I mean, yeah. Also, I feel like a lot of people use that word sarcastically, so it's hard to identify when you truly mean it.
I'm so desperate like that.
Yeah, sure, just like that. Like, I mean, like, sometimes, and you're gonna love it because I'm gonna bring up what? Jits! Yeah, baby. But sometimes when like, I'm rolling and stuff.
Oh my god, this guy.
I'm
I'm so
rolling stuff,
desperate
I'll
to
get
talk about jits.
That's you're goddamn right. No, sometimes I'll get desperate when I'm rolling, like, especially when I'm rolling with like a fucking 250-pound guy and he's fucking smothering me. I'm desperate to get out of there. But again, it's like sarcastic desperation because I know in 2 minutes time is gonna be up and he's gonna get off me if I'm still alive. But like true desperation.
Like you don't ever get like a fight or flight situation from jits, like a true
No,
fight or flight.
No. Never. It's always a very controlled environment, so no. But yeah, I mean, I think years back when I was in a worse mental state, there was definitely kind of similar to Lucas's point. There was a desperation to just get out of that mind frame and not return to it. The desperation was not returning to it. As opposed to getting out of it. Like, I always had faith in myself that I could pull through, no matter how tough certain times got. I always so many people would tell me like, go seek help, get therapy, whatever, and I'm not knocking on therapy. I think therapy could help everybody. I just, for some reason, I don't know what it was. I don't think it was a pride thing. Maybe it was a bit of a pride thing, but there was definitely a large part of me that was like, nah, like I got this. So like I don't think I felt desperate at that point, but I was definitely desperate to not slip back into those shitty situations.
I was fortunate enough to not, or at least like not have to go through the therapy route, but there's such a bad stigma for it where therapy's for everyone. You even have little things, or you don't know if you have anything that you need to get off your chest. It's still a great thing to just know. Like, go in there, get checked out, be like, hey, is there something I should improve on, or something that, is holding me back from who I am? And just be like, yeah, like, maybe you're, like, like, being too proud or something like that. Like, they'll tell you honestly. And there's such a bad stigma where people always think it's something to do with a negative mental emotion.
Weakness even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when people
there's
say, "Oh, I
something
talked to
wrong
my
with you that needs to get
therapist."
fixed, which isn't the truth at all.
No.
Yeah, I don't see there's an issue with that. I even once upon a time, like, I never thought there was an issue with getting therapy, but once upon a time I used to believe like, okay, cool, therapy has its place, but I didn't think you should constantly run to therapy whenever you ran into an issue, because I thought that there was some benefit in sometimes just figuring things out for yourself. Is, go through the grind, feel the friction, and come out the other side saying, look, I did this. My dog is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But then, I mean, like now I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I still don't think that's a bad idea. If you want to run to therapy, saying run to therapy sounds like a negative thing. If you want to seek therapy upon every struggle you come across, I don't think that's such a bad idea anymore, because therapy gives you the tools to then deal with those things.
Yeah.
So I guess the only time I would not even say it's a bad thing, but where maybe I'd be critical is if you keep going back to therapy for the same thing over and over. The only reason I would be critical about that is because you're not showing progress. So there's something there. But if it's always a new situation, or even if you made one step further and you seek therapy to get further, by all means, do it as many times as you want, do it as many times as you need. I don't think that's an issue anymore, especially if you're just equipping yourself with more tools to deal with more of a variety of situations.
That's a great. No, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I think therapy gets a bad rap these days.
So
I think it's getting better, but there's always, I think there's still a stigma around it, which is unfortunate, because some people are just in scenarios that they won't get out of it unless they have therapy, right? Like,
there's
just some things you can't fix or work through unless you have professional experts involved, I think.
Yeah, even just to open your eyes that you have something there, because some people just think, like, this is my day to day, and then someone opens your eyes to, like, no, like, there's something there.
More.
Let me, like, let's see, look at it. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that. It's good to know, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what you don't know, right?
So
I do.
I was gonna actually answer, I guess, a question from chat. First off, Eric, what's up, man? Do you think it's desperate to keep someone in your life that wants to have an open relationship? Basically, they want to keep you around, but also the freedom to see other people. I don't think so.
I assume keep someone, like, as a partner.
Yeah, so let's say,
like, what do you mean?
In a romantic aspect.
So yeah, like, let's say you're in a relationship with someone who wants an open relationship, and I guess in this scenario, let's assume that you want a closed off one, they want an open one. Well, to me, you guys just want different things. You guys just are not like, what you want is not
I don't think
compatible.
it's.
Yeah, but to stick through it, would that show a form of desperation for that person?
I guess it depends. There is the reason because what, like, you don't think you can go on without them. Like, I guess it would depend on what's the reason you feel the need to maintain a relationship with that person. Yeah, at the expense of your own. I don't think you should ever put, like, maybe not not everything, but there's got to be a limit to what expense you put on yourself for someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say it's desperation. I think it's just that
it's just understanding what your limit is.
Yeah, like, for example, if let's say you're in a relationship with someone who wants to have kids, dead set on, I want to have kids, get married, that's my end goal in life. If you don't want a part of that, like that's the only thing I want in life. And you are someone who's like, I don't want kids, I don't want to get married ever, and you guys disagree on that, then you guys should just reevaluate your relationship. Like, if you guys love each other, like, that's still a great thing to have. But I mean, like, ultimately for end goal purposes, is that what you like? Do you really want to keep using time on that? It's up to you.
But putting up with these conditions that don't align, would that be desperation for maybe not desperate for the person, but you're desperate for a relationship? So you put up with all these things.
Yeah, it depends on what your intent is. Like, are you madly in love with that person, or is it you're more? This is where it's like, are you in love with the person, or are you in love with the idea of being with someone? Not not specifically that person, but just being with someone in general. And I think that's an important thing you have to reevaluate. And unfortunately, the only person who has that answer is you, is the person asking the question. Like,
that's
in this
true.
scenario, it would be Eric, or it's someone that that question applies to, or just in general.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that person is the one who'll know what their ultimate intent is, their desired outcome.
Yeah, like, I personally think that even if your guys' goals don't align, that doesn't mean you guys still can't have some form of relationship. Like it's really where you are. Like, are you really willing to have that for a little bit, or it's like, no, like, that's not what I'm looking for, I need to move on? It's really your comfort level. Like, if you're someone who's like, well, I'm in my, like, let's say you're 18, you have all the time in the world to figure that out. Like, take your time. If that's something you want to explore. But if you're like someone who's like, hey, this is based on how you feel. If you feel like, oh, like, I'm reaching this age, I'm really looking to get married and settle down now, and the person doesn't want that, then you should realign your goals, or move on, or whatever you need to.
Sure. It reminds me of, like, a sad story. Again, I'll leave names out of it, but there's, like, this gal who, her and her partner, her boyfriend, like, I guess things in the bedroom where getting tense and frustrating, and there was just never much of a connection. And then he was like, oh, like, I want a threesome, maybe that'll spice things up again. So she does it reluctantly. She doesn't want to do it, but she does it because she wants that passion between her and her boyfriend again. So they have a threesome, and I guess they did it several times and just screwed with her mentally to a whole different degree, where she like almost can't be physical, not because just at all, like she feels super insecure because there has to be another woman involved, right? So there's zero confidence anymore. Just destroyed her mentally. She can't even really look at her partner anymore because she's seen him basically with another woman, and has to be there for it and interact and pretend like everything's okay while she's, within her own definition, watching her partner cheat on her. And it's just like, god damn, like, yeah, those are one of those things where, like, yeah, I think desperation, delusion, there's something going on there.
I think that stems though more from a communication issue than
Sure.
because if you can't communicate openly, then I think it's the relationship's not on a good foot to begin with, and then it just leads to further problems like that. And that's a super shitty scenario. That sucks.
Yeah, that's real sad. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, no, that's too bad. Hope they're doing all right. Shout out to whoever that may be. But
yeah, there are way too many stories where I hear people who have threesomes and then one of the partners leaves the original partner for the person that was the new person.
Oh, that's hard. That's
hard.
Oh, fuck that.
That's like,
right?
That's almost episode 6 heartbreaking.
Almost. Anybody who hasn't watched Squid Game, I don't want to be like, I will admit, I jumped on the bandwagon. I don't think it's worthy of being the most streamed thing on Netflix. Like, it's good. It's a little.
It's very good.
It is a good show. It's a great show. I recommend watching it just because. Episode 6.
That one episode pulled like intense heartstrings. Let me tell you. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, like
yes.
I don't know if I'd ever felt so emotionally distraught watching a show as I did in that episode.
It's so funny because I didn't feel like it was sad, but
You're
I wouldn't
a fucking
say
monster, bro.
Strings.
Yeah, you're.
And it wasn't even just like one scenario. It was like 3 scenarios in one episode that happened.
But and I think it was just like because the deception that they all had. They were all thinking the same thing, and you're just like, boom, here's a twist. And like when they realize what's gonna happen, like I was like, no, like there's no way that this is gonna happen. And play out like this.
Yeah. It's funny, it's like my coworkers warned me because I had just finished episode 5, and I told them that. They're like, "Oh, what episode? I just finished 5, going into 6," and they're like, "Oh, good luck with 6." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "You're gonna cry. You're gonna cry." They're like, "Fuck!" I was like, "I ain't got no fucking heart," and I'm watching. I'm like, "Oh my god!"
It was close. It was close.
Oh my
it was
god!
Like so...
It was very close. Yeah.
Like, and that's what I mean. Like, it was a mix of the twist, but as well as just the emotional impact. Because like, there are other twists in TV shows, Game of Thrones, The Red Wedding.
Sure,
that twist was like, whoa, holy shit! But nowhere near as sad as that episode.
Yeah, it's funny too. The same coworker who warned me about episode 6, believe it or not, he started the show on episode 6. Like his wife was watching the whole thing, and he joined her on episode 6. So he watched 6, 7, 8, 9, and he was like, "Fuck! I wish I watched it from the beginning." I was like, "Bro, that is the worst."
You have to watch it from the first. Yeah. Any episode, even after that, would have been better. Versus seeing that one.
Yeah,
first.
that's like the.
It's like a pivotal. It's a pivotal. Yeah.
Yeah, because you establish like relationships with these characters throughout, and that episode 6 is what,
still
so many things.
Fucking...
Oh yeah, heart-wrenching. But anyways, it was the show in its entirety, I thought it was very good overall. But like, yeah, to your point, is the like, what again? I haven't connected with the show to that extent where I was that emotionally, and it's short. It's only 9 episodes, and I was that emotionally invested in a character. Like, there aren't other shows that even Game of Thrones was 8 seasons. Like, some of the characters I wasn't even as emotionally invested as I was in these characters for that short period of time. I don't know what it is about the characters.
I did not give a fuck about Sansa Stark after every single season. I didn't give a shit. Like, yeah, okay, some shit that happened to her was like, oh shit, sorry, but like I could have felt worse. But you're right. Within 6 episodes, I gave a fuck about these people.
Like every single one of them.
I gave a
fuck
about
maybe it's because of the fact that you can resonate with them. Like you're like you can empathize with like, oh, that must suck going through what you're going. Whereas like Sansa Stark, you're like, yeah, it's kind of shitty, but it's like I'm never gonna experience that. Whereas like I don't know someone who's going through that problem of can't run the fucking you know what I mean, or had to marry a shitty. Actually, there are some people who have to marry shitty partners.
But they're not
like
kings.
check out
but
Emma,
they're not
right?
kings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely
She's
not a
the
king.
shitty partner, right? To leave on a happy note, when we started dating, because I found this, I saw this post and I told her about it. I was like, they say that every relationship has a really good looking person and a really funny person. And she's like, oh, haha. And I was like, yeah, you are pretty funny.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. So let's sorry, someone's knocking on my door. The question with
A hand.
Eric here.
There's a hand.
Oh no, it's a hand.
I'll come down a sec. We're just
Spooky.
finishing our episode up. Oh, it's my mom.
Yeah, she could join for the end. Bring her in. Or not.
I'll come down in a sec. Eric said,
The hand is back.
what?
Erica was saying basically the question was not for him, and don't worry, like, we're not trying to say the question was for you. Don't worry,
yeah.
we're not. Unless you're in that situation and we can join in since it's open, you know, then you can change up your answer. But
Eric is the one who wants the open half for us. All right, Eric.
Yeah, appreciate.
You want to slice a cause in the Ruckus? You could get it, baby.
He also said Squid Game was very good. I wouldn't say great. That's interesting.
But
the
isn't
ending
very
for me,
good-
the ending for
doesn't
me
very
was
good
weak.
mean great.
Yeah. What? No. What? No.
Good?
Good does
Yeah,
not mean great.
No, but
No,
very,
good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like where do you draw the line of very
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 good
good
is-
and great?
Or is it
very,
good, very good, great?
like very fast,
very great?
swift? You know what I mean?
Like is it like very good's a 6 and then great's a 7, or is very good a 7 and great's an 8?
What's excellent
True.
then?
Very
Is
subjective.
excellent.
Like excellent's like a 9.
A 23?
7.5. Very excellent is an 8.
very excellent. All right, let's wrap up with some quick thank yous, and then I gotta bounce.
Yep.
I'm gonna say I'm thankful that I'll never have to experience a real life scenario like Squid Game.
that you know
knock
of.
on some wood, bro. Knock on some wood, because
Yeah.
it's just gonna
You're still
happen.
young,
now.
baby.
Yeah. So
He's still grateful for it.
He's
Right?
still
yeah, so grateful that I don't have to, at least not right now. So, and I actually, if I do, I'm grateful that I've seen the episode, so I'll know what games we're playing.
Yeah, that's fair. I am grateful for Chinese food. Legit. The shit is always cheap. The shit is always delicious. Always in great quantities. I went to Nations today and got we got Chinese food on Friday, and I had leftover steamed rice, and I was like, I'm not just gonna eat steamed rice. So I went to Nations to get General Tao chicken. First of all, it's spelled so many different ways. What the fuck is it? But General Tao chicken. And the lady's just jamming this chicken into the container and just like squishing it in and adding more. I was like, damn, girl, pack it up. Get it. Like, I love it. Chinese food, the shit. So grateful for those people.
Actually, that was mine. You know, transportation, guys.
I fucking knew it.
Fucking guy.
God, you know, there's just so much to be thankful for. I can't really think of one off the top of my head.
Those are the signs of an ungrateful piece of shit.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
I'm
It's something
thankful-
we know we're doing every episode.
Yeah.
I'm thankful I'm not in such a detrimental financial situation where I would have to resort to desperation. So
This guy basically took maths.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
worded it.
Yeah, he just
Very
said he didn't
good.
want to play Squid Game.
Yeah, yeah, he should.
But anyways, watch. For those of you who haven't finished yet, finish watching it and then give us your feedback on next week's episode on, you know, what you thought, and maybe we can talk about specific scenarios if you like.
If you
But,
even want to just ask questions about Squid Game next episode, even if the topic's unrelated, we'll answer them.
yeah, we'll do it. Sure.
We'll answer about
and
anything.
yeah.
You guys can ask us anything.
Yeah, Minimac also called out that Lucas is thankful for transportation yet again, and she said
Where
that
am
she
I?
actually died. So. that
Oh my
sucks.
god. Rest
I'm
in
thankful
peace.
for that too.
Bless her soul. Oof.
Ooh, that's a. On that note, have a great Sunday, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy, guys.
Maybe we won't see Lucas next week after that, but
Hopefully.
Lee and I will for sure. We'll see you there.
See you guys.
Absolutely.
Mate.